OtraXFavor. This is one more, please. Today in the studio, I have the honor to host the Executive Director of Latinitas, Gabriela Kane Guardia. She is from Panama, and she's actually repping Los Canaleros with her jersey.
Hey, shout out Canaleros.
Did you go to their games when they came to the Q2?
Not the recent ones. I went last year when they played the U.S.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice,
it was fun.
nice.
It was really fun. I brought my family. They came down to see the play. Really wonderful.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So the reason why we're here today, one is to hear about your story, but also to congratulate you because you were selected by the MLS. Speaking of MLS, you guys know we're going to be doing the All-Star the All-Star game and skills challenge next week. So there's a lot of events. And what they do is they honor leaders in their community. So you're part of the leaders they're honoring in the community for doing amazing things through Latinitas. So congratulations.
Gracias. Thank you.
And there's other leaders that were also, they were also selected for the leadership. And there's Lakisa Bright. Did I say it right? Lakisa Bright. Okay, cool. Fidel Campuzano Gonzalez and Bill Wallace. They're all, leaders in the community that are doing an amazing thing. And hopefully we can have them here in the future as well. So how is being selected by the MLS? How does that feel for you?
It's an honor. It's amazing. I was really overwhelmed when I heard there were so many other candidates, nominees in the process. And to be recognized by the MLS, by Black Players for Change, all the partners that are making this possible, it feels so great to be recognized. Often the nonprofit work is thankless work. Yeah. And so it's so great to have this platform to uplift Latinitas and just recognize the community that we're building here in Austin. Nice.
What was I going to say? Are you guys going to be, during the MLS All-Star game, are you guys going to be in the game, be invited to?
I think we're going to get a field recognition and do the wave on TV.
Hey,
so, yeah.
Nice.
That'll be cool. We're going to be having a reception on Monday. Mm-hmm. We'll go to the Skills Challenge on Tuesday, and then the MLS game Wednesday.
That's a stall.
That'll be great. Yeah.
That's a stall. That's cool. So imagine, and the Messi's going to have the honor to be with you guys in the pitch and share the pitch with you guys.
I never thought I'd share the pitch with Messi.
There we go.
It's incredible.
Hey, hard work pays off.
Thank you.
So before we go also and continue, we want to give a shout out to our audience. For me, it's a blessing that you guys keep supporting us. Your engagement towards us, it motivates us to keep going. And also every time you guys give us feedback, we appreciate it. And I don't want to forget, shout out to our friend Salwa Jordi Echtai.
Hey, we love Salwa.
Donde quiera que esté, un besote. She's always busy with Farándula Texas. And I have a funny story because I saw her I would say a couple months ago during the Cine Las Americas. Uh-huh. And it was on the red carpet. I've never done a red carpet, so I'm over here with my drink. Y Salwa le say, mijito, deme su bebida. Let me ask you a question. I'm like, oh.
She's everywhere. She's popping up everywhere.
Oh, man. She's amazing. She's it's another person that's also part of Latinita. She helps you guys out as well.
Right. She's our communications director. And she's been my hermana in the whole journey of leading Latinitas. So it's really beautiful to get to work with someone so talented, so well networked in the community, and so good at what she does.
Oh, yes. She's great. And here, one thing that I love about what we've done is we've been able to connect and network with people. So we got into, not just have Salwa here share her story, but also become friends. So every time we see each other, it's not just like, oh, hi, I remember you from this. Like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, she's so genuine, right? She comes through and she's really authentic every place she goes, and she's got friends everywhere. So I love that. We were just celebrating her birthday last weekend.
That's right.
And we went out, and she knew more people than she had invited. It was beautiful. Her community follows her everywhere.
I do think about her, and then we'll go I thought of how many options does she have a day to cover things, and which ones does she have to scratch out and put out or leave in her list? There's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. yeah, I mean, she does what she can, and then I admire her energy that she always brings her best to the work she does.
Oh yes, yes, yeah, and um, well, let's go into before we go into Latinitas and talk about pretty much the organization. This part right here is called the life of the host, the creator, the artist, or here the life of Gabriela. The first question I have for you is: where did you grow up, and how did your childhood shape the person you are today?
Somehow I grew up in the burbs of Dallas. And I say that because my life story doesn't begin without my parents' love story. I'm born to an American father who was born in the Panama Canal Zone, which was U.S. territory at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was also born to a Mexican Panamanian mother who was born in Ciudad Mexico, ended up growing up in Panama. And they met at the Panama Canal College, fell in love in photography class. My mom bought the textbook and my dad didn't, so you see how that worked out.
So your dad did it on purpose.
Might have been. It was a sly move, Dad. It worked out. And then after a couple years, sight unseen, they moved to Lubbock, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
How you go from Paradise to Lubbock, Texas, I don't know, but we ended up having roots here, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be, a Texan girl, growing up in North Texas with my 3 beautiful sisters. I was really well-rounded as a kid. I think I'm really grateful to my parents for that influence. I love science. I love arts. I love music. I love sports. I spent the first, 10 years of my life as a figure skater on the ice. And then I got too tall to be doing that. And they're like, you should probably go try something else. And so I found basketball, my second sports love. Mm-hmm. And just really grateful for that opportunity to be on the court. I think that's where I learned a lot of leadership, playing ball, and just grateful that my coaches always told me, you're a student athlete, right? You're a student first and then an athlete. So I always had to keep my academics on point. And I think, when growing up in school, I realized my best subjects were the humanities, the arts and culture, learning about other people of other countries, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't know what I could do with that someday, but I just enjoyed that content the most. And I think it's working out for me. I think that influenced a lot of the work that I do now. And also, being really fortunate to have the opportunity to go and visit my family in Panama and Mexico, getting to experience the breadth of culture, the vibrancy, the food, the music, the arts, the baile folclórico, todo eso. It really moved me. It shaped me growing up to be passionate about, preserving these cultures and be proud of your cultura. And so that upbringing also, really influenced me, because then I come back to the burbs in Dallas and there's not that culture there. It's not the same. It's not. So I'm really grateful that my family, gave me the opportunity to experience so much rich cultural diversity growing up. That all of that, the culmination of my studies, my sports, and having the strong ties to my family culture, really defined. Okay, I think I want to make a living somehow, uplifting culture, uplifting community, and celebrating education. And somehow I found my way to do that.
That's good. So you got to see the part of Panama and also the part of Mexico, especially Mexico City. I'm from there.
My family, when we go, ¿ya eres de DF? Okay, I didn't know that.
Sí, del Estado Madero.
Right. Bueno, my family's in Guadalajara, actually. So that's the place that I got to know the most growing up. And my mom hasn't been back to the DF, but she needs to go.
She needs to go? It's I literally, it's funny because I'm always bringing this, but I didn't go after a good amount of time, like over 20 years. So when I went back last year, it was like, it was great because you get to see the city grow, and I didn't feel left out, and I think that kind of helped out because I'm like, oh man, I'm from here. Like it feels like I'm part of it, but it's also like every time I'm in Austin, I also feel like I'm part of here too. But seeing like say from your parents, Panama, Mexico, what was like the differences you saw between both cultures, and then how were some things that you feel like clashed, but also how were some things that you feel like connected?
That's really interesting. I was really fortunate to have a family that on both sides were always playing music. And so that's something they had in common, right? There's música playing in Guadalajara, and when I go to, we go to Ciudad Panama, or we go off to the other places where my family is at, music was a common thread. I think what was different was the other arts and culture that was a part of it. Food was really different. What we're drinking is really different. In Mexico, families drinking a lot of tequila. I have roots of tíos who make tequila over there, and then in Panama we have seco de rano. Is the drink over there, and so
Seco de rano. Okay.
That's the national liquor of Panama. Y bueno, in Panama there's a lot of mariscos. In Mexico a lot of tacos and things. And so, yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing to get to experience, the best of both worlds. My family on the Panama side is, they're all really engaged in education. Mm-hmm. And that was something I really appreciated from them. And I really identify with my family in Panama. I also just got to know them better. But, it's just grateful that was the influence that they had on me. And helping me pursue and encouraging me to pursue education.
That's good. And I think growing up with education, you it's not like you have a certain expectation, but you grow up wanting to learn, and I feel like and like for me, education became part of it. Like my parents, they didn't do any like that. I think the farthest it went in their academics were probably high school or preparatoria. Mm-hmm. My dad did a couple of years in college, and then I was the reason why he quit. But
it happens.
But they always ingrained like, hey, try to find some type of education in your life, because they can't take that away from you. And also you can't unlearn what you already learned.
That's yours to keep.
Yes.
That's the beauty of knowledge. That's yours to keep.
Yes, and I think with knowledge, like if you use it correctly, like you expand your horizons, and monetarily, of course, like we all want to do better in life with money, right? But also you get to understand the world more, and also understand different cultures. And I think like for you, it was you weren't like, well, I'm just Mexican, I'm just Panamanian, or I'm from Dallas. Like now you're like, I'm from all of them.
Yeah, it's how do you say, ni de aquí ni de allá.
Yeah.
And I really lived that. And I think my mom did too, because she was also Mexicana, Panameña, and then living in the States. And so we just I grew up this mutt, this real mix. Mm-hmm. And I didn't fit in with the gringo kids. I didn't fit in with the Mexicano kids. I didn't fit in with the other Latin American kids. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, live it all. And then, I felt like I identify more when I just started accepting all the different parts of me, but that took some time as a kid to like see how I fit in these communities,
Nice. So you say your dad is white and your mom is like Hispana. Uh-huh. Okay. And from your dad's like, white part, what was that like? Because it was different, right? The way they are, como que I always feel like us is like Hispanics, de repente when we talk about something and nos despiamos, and with like my Caucasian friends, they're direct to the point.
Mm-hmm. I think my dad's a little more serious, right?
Yeah.
But he was born in Panama, so he still got the tropical flavor.
Yeah.
He's a little mix himself, right? But yeah, I did learn a lot about leadership from my dad, and I'm grateful for that. He brought that into my life.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And education, I did see that you graduated from Texas A&M.
Hey, whoop.
Whoop. And then you received a master's from UT.
I did a bad thing. I went to both schools.
Well, it's like, say, I've never heard a story where someone is, panameño, mexicano, de acá, y luego de repente va a A&M y luego a UT.
I keep doing it, right? I love that. I'm not too attached to one identity. I'm okay exploring multiple identities, for sure.
And you got to see more like the social studies, humanitarian part, humanity, mm-hmm. and arts. What was like, say, for you, like growing into that, what's up? What sort of jobs do you would like manifest? You would see yourself in the future as you were going into these fields of study, compared to someone like me that's an accountant.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Well, it's a little complicated because I didn't know I was going to go into humanities to begin with. I actually went to A&M thinking I was going to be a mechanical engineer. And I showed up, and the counselor who's helping me register for classes said, "What do you want to study?" And I was like, "Oh, engineering." She said, "Not many people like you finish." I was like, "Como que people like me?"
Yeah.
And that's when I said, I did some coursework, but, it turned out to be true. And I was much better pursuing the international studies, Spanish degree. And I always thought I could use that to be like a curator of art somewhere. You're curating an exhibit of Latin American art. For me, when I was in school, it was like, that's going to be my vision, my dream goal, work in a museum or an art gallery. Maybe that'll come around again. I managed an art gallery when I finished at A&M for a little bit before I came to UT. Pero yeah, I think all I knew that I really wanted was to be around people and culture, and I've made that a priority for me, in my career so far, and I hope to keep it that way going forward.
That's good. I'm glad you chose to go to the path where you felt like it was right for you.
Yeah.
Porque imagina, mechanical engineer, I'm pretty sure you would have also done successful, but you were staying with like the little itch. Como que imagínate si hubiera hecho otra cosa.
Exacto.
And going into, changing your career or taking this career, you also got a chance to do an internship on the 86th, if I can remember.
Yeah, the 86th legislative session in Texas. That's right. I was doing an internship with Texans for the Arts. Oh, man, I learned so much.
Yeah, I want to ask you, how did everything start with that? Because it's an internship in the Texas legislature. Like, you're there.
I was in the halls, and I was in coursework in grad school here at UT. One of our guest speakers was the executive director at the time at Texans for the Arts. She came through. This was a class on cultural politics. That's my jam, cultural policy, how policy influences culture and vice versa. And she was sharing how her organization, Texans for the Arts, advocates for public investment in the arts. And they go into the halls of power and tell our elected officials they should invest public dollars to invest in the arts in Texas. Mm-hmm. And she was like, "We need interns for this upcoming session." And I was like, "Me, please."
Por favor.
Por favor. And I'm so grateful I got to work with her, Ann Graham and Chris Kiley. And I learned that, one, those halls, which were very intimidating to me at the time, those halls of power belong to all of us, mm-hmm. And also I learned how to use my voice to share what I'm passionate about with people in power and let them know why it's so important to support the arts. I learned about the return on investment the arts have when we invest in the community, how that helps shape economic development, how it helps shape education, even health benefits from working with the arts. I just learned about all the different, talking points and data points we can use to demonstrate how important art and culture is for all of our lives and well-being.
And then, like, Texas it's very business oriented, very like corporate minded. Bringing something like what you're doing into the halls of the Texas legislature. Mm-hmm. How do you think the people you were trying to tell this were there senators or representatives? How do you think they were taking it? Like, what was the feedback from them?
If I'm in a conservative office, they would say that spending public dollars on the arts is an overreach of government, that it shouldn't be that way.
Okay.
And so it's an uphill battle. It was definitely a fight, to demonstrate the economic value. We always had to go, like you said, the business way, show them the return of dollars. When you invest in the arts, mm-hmm. People are going to go out, buy a ticket to a show. When they do that, they're going to go out for dinner before. They're going to go to a bar. They may go pay for parking. They're going to maybe rent a hotel room, that evening. Like, the economic impact of someone going to an art event, a concert, a show, lo que sea, it has a huge benefit for the community around there. They might visit other businesses around that. So That's the case that we had to make, like you said, because Texas is business.
Guys, you guys are listening to this. Gabriela just gave out a couple good pointers how you can plan a perfect date.
Right.
Nice. And how was like, well, they see that part. Because you're right. I mean, whenever my wife and I, we would go to a show, we'll go to a concert or anywhere, it is parking, where we're going to eat before or we're going to eat after, where are we going to do afterwards? And it's going to be in town, out of town, even sports, right? Like as a photographer, sometimes I get hired to go work several places. So like you're going to go, if you go out of town like San Antonio, get a hotel and then the gas from here to there. Right. So you're keeping the economy going with those type of things.
It's a
so
multiplier. There's a lot of jobs that are touched by that. So,
and then I'm glad you're pointing like some simple things out that is still connected. Like you're contributing to the economy. And I think where I want to go, like as we go into Latinitas, is how whenever you start forming, in Spanish es formando a la gente, una formación educativa. You're one, you're educating people, and then two, you're investing so they can go out there and not just create art, but also create art that's gonna bring value to the business, value to the place. For example, we have a lot of artists here, murals like Jay Musax, Fabian Rey, Luis Angulo. Shout out. There you go.
18th St. Bernard.
And their art brings value to businesses in town. And you have art, you have some people that are going to go to a bar and they go see the mural that they did, or they're going to go to a bar because it's a cool mural. It se conecta. And I think like I'm glad that you're touching all of these subjects because they're so simple, but they're like, man, sometimes we oversee them.
Yeah, and there's many projects that all those artists you mentioned, a lot of those times they are invested by the local government to help them do a lot of those projects, especially if they're public works. Austin, keeping it weird, they love to, when they can, invest in art in public places is a program we have here at the city. And the way we get funding to do those public art projects is through something called hotel occupancy tax. So when people go and stay in hotels, you pay some tax. A little percentage of that goes into the arts for the local city. And so that's how Latinitas also benefits from some of those funds. So it's back to how the economy, fuels art, and then art fuels the economy. It's a whole ecosystem that makes it possible. And so, yeah, it's really cool. We have a lot of awesome public artists doing really cool work here in Austin.
And a lot of them are our friends.
Yeah, homies.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to go into Latinitas. So, how you guys know what we've been doing this is we play songs. So this song that we're going to play is going to be Can't Stop the World by the Tierras. Shout out to the Tierras, and their manager hopefully will be here one day recording with us, sharing her story. She has a pretty amazing story. We'll be right back.
Looking for a reason to live with things just the way they were. I came around, used to be easy to get to, sure they got to me just about every way. There's no magic here, the golden rule is gone. Those dirty tricks are falling out the sleeve. You knock me down, but don't know I'm better on the ground. I to a future that feels fine. Those things you said so funny, those things you did for money, everything you want to steal is mine. Can't stop the world, can't stop the world, can't stop the world. Why let it stop you? Why let it stop you? Why let it stop you? Can't stop the world, can't stop the world, can't stop the world, can't stop the world.
We're back. And I wanted to go into Latinitas, ask you about the mission and vision of the organization, where are they located, and what is it about? So for the people that are not from Austin, I mean, in Austin, I feel like a lot of people are pretty familiar, but people who are not from Austin, what's something that they would know about Latinitas?
Amazing. So Latinitas is a mission. Perdón, okay, chop it up. Latinitas is an Austin-based nonprofit. We have a mission to empower girls and their community through culturally relevant education. And we have a vision where we envision a future where all Latinas lead with confidence. And we offer after-school clubs, summer camp, conferences, different opportunities for girls, mostly 9 to 14-year-old girls, mostly Latina girls, to engage with STEAM education. If you're not familiar, STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. We put the A for arts in STEM.
In there,
In
okay.
there. So STEAM, we call it STEAM education.
Okay.
It's good because it's, the creativity piece is so crucial to all those industries. Y bueno, the girls engage with Latinitas, through these educational opportunities. But we also bring in role models and mentors from the field, from different industries, so that they can see women, pursuing careers that, if they can see them, they can be that too. If they see an engineer, if they see a woman in the sports industry, they get to learn about all these different opportunities they have ahead of them. And that is one of our other pillars, is career exploration. So career exploration is really key to make sure that they know all the opportunities that are possible for them. And another area of our work is digital equity. And by that, we mean we want to make sure the members of our community have access to digital devices, access to the internet, and that they have the skills to use these things. So, part of our work is also working with the parents of our students. We have a program called Padres Digitales. And Padres Digitales is our opportunity to offer digital literacy. We're giving a parent a laptop, teaching them how to set up a Gmail account, how to use online banking, how to set up telehealth calls, different things that, can really help make the household stronger. And there's so much gratitude from the families we work with of, giving them not just the device, but the skills, right? So that's a really powerful program that we have. In addition to serving the girls, support their family, the ecosystem around them, because when they're stronger, they will uplift the girl, And también another area of our work is economic opportunity. And by that, we mean, making sure our community members have access to upward mobility, have access to pursue a career change. We have a program for adults called Workforce Readiness. And so we're teaching them, they can get a certificate online in a number of different industries. It could be cybersecurity, it could be data analytics, project management, just help them upskill. And then we're going to help them, get a mock interview. How do they update the resume? How do they make sure they get the clothes for an interview? And then try to introduce them to our corporate partners, maybe some recruiters, and just give them all the opportunity if they want to have a career switch, or, maybe it's their first time going into a career. And so that's another way that we support the community around the Latinita.
Wow. That's great. Because I've seen the website, and I'm always seeing Salwa, very much talking about Latinitas and the events. But for you, seeing like the amount of girls that come in, it's from 9 through 14, right? how many stories have you seen from the girls that come in, like go to, okay, you know what? At first they were gonna just go to school or not know what to do with their lives. So like right now they're like about to graduate from university. How many stories have you seen of that? Or like, even you don't have to say names, but do you recall a specific one where you're like, man, this one girl like no tenía planes en la vida, o no sabía qué quería hacer, de repente, boom, like she's here.
There was one student in particular who stands out. She went to one of our programs called Code Chica, learning the fundamentals of all of the different, computer science languages, and she got excited about it. And I remember she told me she met a woman programmer through the program and said, I could do that too. And so that's what she wanted to go into. And then, similar to my background, when she showed up to campus to go to college, they told her, this is not for you. And she said, what do you mean for me? And she's like, because of who she was, they told her, this is not a path for you. And she showed them wrong. And she stayed in it. She worked a job in IT to put herself through school. And she just graduated in May. And we're so proud of her. But
nice.
She's going to do great things because she knew the Latinitas family had her back, and that, at some point in her time with us, we told her, you can do it.
Yeah. And like, for me, when I first started into, okay, what am I going to do with my life? And I was young, but I knew I wanted to go to school. I knew I wanted to get a degree, and luckily I got one. And it was in accounting, and the reason why is because I saw friends that were accountants. So I saw someone that looked like me in those type of places. Yeah. And I remember it was 2006, and it was like right after a couple years, a year or two after high school. One of my friends, when I was thinking, okay, I'm going to accounting, maybe, yes, no. I was still in the community college phase. One of my friends, we were in the Houston Galleria, and they were doing, he wasn't part of it, but there was America and Barcelona. They were going to play that weekend there. And my friend, we ran into my friend, and he was with a bunch of other people from his job just in the Galleria. And I'm like, that's cool. And I was asking him, dude, like, what were you doing in the Galleria at 4 o'clock? He's like, oh, we're about to go eat lunch. We got off work early. And I was like, where do you work again?
How do I get to do that?
How do you get to do that? And then he was telling me, so this is what you do. This is where, like, this is part of it. Part of working in the corporate world is one, sometimes you get to have, in Spanish, es préstamos. I think in English it's like benefits, vacation hours. You also get to take sick days, health insurance. Some of it pay, like some companies pay in full. Get to work, get off early, go to happy hours. And it's like a lot of those things that Hispanics didn't really grow up, my parents didn't really know about. And now we get to know it. So, reaping some of the benefits from education is being able to facilitate your lifestyle. So I know it sounds like, oh man, but it has to be a lot of work. Yeah, but it also has to be a lot where like now you work smarter, not harder, but you also get to build options in life. And I feel like with kids that are growing up and they're trying to find out what they want to do in life, you first have to go through this phase of, okay, in order for you to get to this, benefits part, let's first talk about your education. Let's first talk about what how can we be able to build your skills so whenever you get there, you're ready for it. And I think like that's a good thing because I'm always happy to see young people succeed. Like for me, it makes me joy when I see someone young that I knew from they were 5, 10. Now they're about to graduate from college, getting this like good job. Like, man, that's great. Like you stuck to your program, and I think for Hispanics sometimes it's hard to stick to programs. So like with you guys help form, like in Spanish es formarte and all that. Why was like the part of the A in STEM, like STEAM? Why was it crucial to add the A in there?
If you know me, I'm a STEAM advocate. I'm proud to put the A in STEM. What I always tell people about STEAM is that no matter what industry you're going into, let's use, for example, video game design, right? There's a lot of engineering, there's a lot of computer science, and there's a lot of art and creativity. And I think that's maybe a really good example of how all these industries, or let's say different pathways, can converge. And there's a huge value when people are creative thinkers, creative problem solvers. That's where innovation is born, is from creativity, from having diverse voices at the table. And that's something I want our students to know. If you want to go into science, that's beautiful. If you want to go into math, that's great. You can also be a creative mathematician. You know, there's a lot of beauty and depth you can have in your career when you are, you know, embedded with creativity. And so that's why STEAM education, I think, is a really important approach. Another great component about the way we do STEAM education is that it's a lot of hands-on projects, hands-on learning, and project-based learning. And that way students, you know, get to express themselves, they get to create, they get to tangibly feel something and be like, you know, I made this, I did this, and have that sense of accomplishment, you know, with them going forward. And so, yeah, I think that's a beautiful thing about Latinitas is we don't just have one subject that we cover. We want to encourage our students to be, you know, really well-rounded, creative thinkers, and explore all the different subjects and possibilities for them.
That's great. I like the fact that you mentioned how, you know, at a young age you were able to build something or put a project together, but also feel it, touch it, and I think whenever you first try a good taco or a good, you know, in a restaurant, it's like you have the best pizza ever, and then you try it, and you're like, man, there's another pizza that could be like this type of pizza. You work so hard. You do everything possible to do that pizza again or to taste that pizza. So for someone young, at a young age, being able to taste, to have that feeling of like, oh man, I created something that I've never experienced and I did it with myself. What else can I do in life? Like,
Exacto. You know, we just had, I mentioned we were in summer camp and we had a whole week that was dedicated to architecture chica, we called it.
okay.
And this
So we have code chica, and now architecture chica. Okay.
There's media chica, which is great. They recorded a podcast
Oh,
on
nice.
media chica. There's engineer chica, y bueno, ¿qué más también? Design chica. That one, they love that fashion design.
Hey.
Bueno, como in architecture chica, they built tree houses. They got to work with architects. They got to work with civil engineers and physically build a tree house. And at the end of the week, they were so proud. They were so excited. I'm going to take this home and have it in my bedroom forever. And, you know, it's so great when you can have that project-based learning and they get to walk away with something physical in their hands and be like, I made this, and they're proud of it.
That, and then also how they're putting something together, but also the people they're working with. I mean, the experts in the industry.
That's right. The role models that we're bringing in, right? There was a civil engineer working with a group of kids and showing them how to make this structure be weight bearing, you know, make it really strong. And she said, you know, if you stack a bunch of pieces of paper and glue them on top of each other, it'll be really strong and dense. These kids sat there forever, gluing one square tras otro, and they really took her advice to heart. And it's beautiful to see they're not just hearing from the mentor, they're excited to implement what they learn. And I really hope, you know, they're excited to maybe pursue those careers because like, oh, you know, she can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah. Y se va a hacer más fácil cuando llega. Because now whenever it comes to like the tough test and like, you know, the essays or thesis, now they're like, you know what? I enjoy this. Like it's not gonna feel like work. We just have to put in the work. However, that's and then like say into the part where you're talking about like the experts that come and help Latinitas and teach them, do the workshops. Is it like Latino experts in the community, or is it also like other ethnicities?
Yeah, it's a mix, right?
Okay.
There's definitely many Latinas we bring because that's our focus. But I also want our students to meet many different kinds of mentors and allies too, right? So like white men, I really want them to know there are allies for you in these spaces and for them to be comfortable working with them too, because the workplace is going to be diverse, right? You're not just going to be working with Latinas or Latinos in your workplace. And so, yeah, we love diverse range of volunteers, mentors, and role models for our students, because that's the way the world is, a beautiful blend, right? And it's just important that they learn it's possible to build trust and have allies that may or may not look like you.
That's and it's talking about like that. How you were saying, you want to build allies at work. You're gonna work with someone who doesn't look like you, but you still want to get the work done, and that's a representation of our community. That's a representation of this country in particular. How many ethnicities come in the workplace, and different ideas, different ways of thinking. But hey, when it comes to putting in the work, like, we have to be professional and do it. But I think a lot of it helps too, because then we're not just known for sticking with our own. Like, we're not just gonna be like, oh, I only work with Hispanics. I don't want to work with this other person. Like, no, like you're in your mindset, you're thinking like, hey, we have to be professional and we gotta get it done. Like, no matter what, how we look like. I think, and trust is, it's right now, especially in this climate, like, it's a hard thing to acquire, to like see or to feel like you trust someone, just because you don't know what they're thinking. Like immigration, you don't know who's against it, for it, so you don't know who to rely on. But I think what brings us all together is one, I mean, the fact that we're in this world to do everything possible for the better. And I think, and also in a work environment to help the company grow, because if the company grows, then your paycheck grows.
That's one way to see it, right? And I think, to your point about having like a really diverse workforce, for me, the importance of that is innovation. When you have, like you said, like maybe all one type of people together, they probably all grew up the same way. They grew up maybe similar community. They all maybe were trained the same way in the same kind of schooling structure. That doesn't lead to innovation if they all think the same way, right? It may work for some time, but when you have a diverse workforce or a diverse company, you have all different lived experiences, different kinds of education backgrounds, and different ways that people think, and that's when new ideas come up. And I think that's where you see industries or companies excel, when they intentionally build a really diverse workforce.
That's good. I like one thing that I like about diversity is, it's like you were saying, innovation comes not just from everybody's the same, doing the same thinking. Like, nah, like, you have different approaches. Sometimes it's tough, and that comes with good type of what is the one word when disagreements, like constructive disagreements, constructive criticism. You're able to take in when someone doesn't agree with you, like, hey, I don't think this is the right way. You're able to take it in better, and not feel it. Also, not take it personal. 'Cause I think, like, at work, you don't, you want to contribute. You also want to put your ideas in, but whenever maybe it's not the right time to have it in there, like, constructive criticism is a key. And I think what you guys are doing, it's amazing, because
Yes.
you're giving tools to kids that, I'm glad they're there, and I'm glad people like you are taking the time or seeing that some putting into perspective a lot of things that, like, we didn't think about that we're actually doing. Like, say, for example, earlier when we talked about liberal, like, arts, and then how you pitch the idea to a senator or a conservative person,
right?
When it comes to money, like, how much is gonna help bring back the return to the community and keep everybody. At the end of the day, I always say, like, cuando todos nos va bien, nos va bien.
Exacto. Something we like to say that we hope to see in our students going forward is that they contribute meaningfully to their community. We want them to contribute meaningfully to their community, no matter what industry they pursue, no matter what kind of family structure they have. If they know that their voice matters, that they can use their voice, they can be engaged civically, engaged in their community. They can use their school knowledge, their academics to help them. I think that's what we want to see, of a Latinita. And we talk about the profile of a power chica, and that's one of her qualities. Power chica contributes meaningfully to her community.
Power chica contributes meaningful to her community. Nice.
Right.
I also wanted to ask you, just for our community, how can the listeners, one, get involved if they want to be involved? How can, I mean, it doesn't have to be like, full time, like every day, all day. But what is something small that community can do to help you guys stay afloat? What are some resources out there that they can learn? So, whether it's like they want to donate or they just want to be able to help out, volunteer. What are some things that our audience can know about Latinitas?
Well, volunteering, like you said, is a really great way to get engaged with Latinitas. You can work with the students. You can make them snack packs. There's a lot of ways to support. But be careful, like you said, it could end up full-time because Salo and I met volunteering for Latinitas, and now we're the directors of Latinitas. So be careful. If you come volunteer, you might end up working for Latinitas.
How, when you first started volunteering to now you're the executive director, how long did it take?
Bueno, I volunteered for like a year and a half.
Okay.
And then I came in as the development director doing the fundraising and partnerships. And then from there, 6 months later, I was running the organization.
Nice.
It happens.
It happens. De repente se hizo la oportunidad. How many like what's the head count of Latinitas? How many people are there? What are like each people doing? Or you don't have to say names you don't want, but just like say just a rough idea.
Yeah, we're a staff of about 15 right now. We have 3 different departments. The programs team, they're the ones working with the students. We have our development team. They're doing fundraising, partnerships, working with volunteers. And then the communications team, shout out to Salwa, they're making the brand really visible, giving a face to the organization and making sure, we're really present in the community.
It's, I like it because it's very professional. It's just like well put together. And I think when you do something like that, when you put everything well together and you present it to someone, when you actually need funding, because for funding, especially now in this era, it's a little tough. But having all the pieces in place and be ready to execute is like, you already know you're going to bring in the idea and, you're going to try to get as much funding as you can. For example, the MLS. I mean, I don't know how much this award for you is going to lead to Latinitas, but I'm pretty sure it's going to help out.
Yeah, shout out MLS, RBC Wealth Management, Black Players for Change. This opportunity for Hometown Heroes is bringing in $15,000 for Latinitas. So it's a really generous award for our organization that help us keep the lights on, pay our staff, be with the girls.
That's good. I'm glad they're not just like going to give you an award like, hey, shout out another, hey.
That's right. That's right. They're investing in the mission. I think it's so powerful that they're like, to your point, they're not just giving the award and the photo up, pero también nos van a donar. And that makes a big impact and it's going to help us go further for our students.
I'm glad. I'm glad you guys are going to get this, not just with the recognition, like, like for you, but also the monetary part. Porque at the end of the day, like for a nonprofit, there's money needed to keep it alive, keep it afloat.
That's true. Nonprofit doesn't mean we don't need money. People forget that. Nonprofit, no. It's like, no, we do. It's a business. Mm-hmm. It's a business too. We spend every money back into the community. All our dollars back into the mission. Mm-hmm.
And it is a 501c3.
501c3. Yeah,
okay.
That's right.
So, certificado y todo.
So you can donate latinitasonline.org.
There you go. Nice. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to close. The next song that we have is from our friend Adrian Activo. And the song is Tu Mal. When I first listened to it, when he said the name of the song, but I was thinking Tu Mal. And I was like Googling, is it a place in Mexico? And I was like, no, it's Tu Mal, like you're bad.
Tu Mal.
So, we'll be right back shortly.
Sigo perdido por tu adiós sin pensar bien a dónde voy. Me preguntaron por ti, no supe yo qué decir. Bailo solo y no encuentro el ritmo en ninguna canción. Tengo la solución, a ver si así. Ahogado en el alcohol, brindando por su adiós, pastilla y cicatriza en la herida que dejó. Tomar de sol a sol, fumar para ocultar el olor del dolor de este falso amor que me hace mal, 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 tú, mal, 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 tú. Y es tu mal, Adrián Activo. Sao. Voy buscando el olvido en bares y en copas de licor, borrando recuerdos, lindos momentos, porque ya se terminó. No encuentro el camino y sigo vivo, pero no encuentro la razón. Tengo la solución, a ver si así. Ahogado en el alcohol, brindando por su adiós, pastilla y cicatriza en la herida que dejó. Tomar de sol a sol, fumar para ocultar el olor del dolor de este falso amor que me hace mal, 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 tú, mal, 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 tú.
All right. We're back. And this next part is going to be more about the community and also mental health. I want to first ask, right now, with the climate that's going on, with the administration cut funding for several nonprofit work, how do you guys are able to, one, overcome the challenges that have come through this administration doing the cuts? And what do you for you in your career, like how do you approach it, and how do you still keep it going and still feel like the leader that you are?
There's a lot going on right now, to your point. You know, Latinitas was really excited to receive their first federal grant. We got notice that we got National Endowment for the Arts funding in December. And then come January, we find out that grant was pulled. And that was really challenging for us, because not the amount that was challenging, but just the principle, right? You know, we had finally got this recognition, this legitimacy from federal funding, and then to never receive it. That hurts, right? It just hurts. But shout out to the Andy Warhol Foundation. They backfilled that NEA support, so we're really grateful for that funding. But there's a lot of other organizations that were devastated by the loss of federal funds and are shuttering, are closing doors, are not able to provide maybe as many resources or services to the community. Something else Latinitas is challenged by right now is the after-school funding for our schools here in Austin. For example, all of the federal funding for the program that makes it possible for us to go in and do after-school programs, those funds were recently cut. And they don't know how they're going to be able to keep the doors open after school. And that is a huge challenge, because we go into the different school campuses, provide Club Latinitas. It's a safe space for students to hang out after school, but then also it's academically challenging and it's also providing leadership skills. Like it's a really special space that we try to make for the school, for the student. That's a little different from the rest of their class, the classroom. And so we really need to find solutions to make sure that the after school setting is well funded, that students have a place to be after school. So that's something else we're trying to really reconcile with right now in this climate. But we're creative, we pivot, we find solutions, and we lean on our community. That's how we're going to get through this time. I'm on a lot of calls with my colleagues running other organizations, and how can we help? What can I do for you? We are we're part of a coalition in the community. It's called C2C, Cradle to Contributor, and it's a lot of Latino serving organizations. El Buen Samaritano, Avance, Con Mi Madre, Todos Juntos, and we are trying to be stronger together. Nonprofits sometimes it gets competitive. Oh, you're getting more money, this or that. But like we need to combine our powers and share clients and make sure this family knows all the resources available through all the organizations. And so that's something that we've been leaning into, is solidarity and being stronger as a community of organizations, and not trying to separate or be divisive in this sector, in this climate.
It's like something that caught my attention is how even still nonprofit, right? And it's still like you don't want to keep it competitive, but being able to provide options to whatever need the community has, because someone might not think Latinitas is for them right now, but something else will be for them. So just having those options, it helps. And I always think like whenever you're doing something good in life, having options is good. Unless you're married, no, ya te casaste, ya te quedaste ahí. But and then how you guys are not trying to compete, because we're human, and every once in a while we'll be like, God, you guys, how much you get again?
Right, exactly. Do you see they got that grant?
Yeah.
How come we didn't get that grant? No, it happens. It happens. But I mean, we're really finding the value of fortifying each other. We're stronger together, and our community needs a lot of different wraparound services. We can't rely on one organization to do all the work. There is a tendency for nonprofits to want to say, oh, we can do all the solutions. No, but let's share the work and then share the clients too, right? And so, yeah, that's something I'm really leaning into as a leader, is just not trying to duplicate what other people are doing. If there's an organization already doing that kind of service, let me just send the families over there, and let them be the experts in that service, and we'll be the experts in ours.
That's good. Which services do you guys don't offer in Latinitas?
Bueno, for example, when COVID happened, there was a lot of questions like, hey, you do like healthcare and things like that, and we had to make sure we try to stay our lane, because it was really tempting, to be pursuing like the COVID funding that was there. And so that's one example of we try to stay our lane and say, we're going to support our community with messaging about COVID and provide Spanish language resources about COVID, pero nombre, we're not putting shots in arms, it's just distinction there. So there's something that's called mission creep, right? Yeah. We try to stay our lane, education, digital equity, career exploration, workforce things. If it's outside of that, we're probably going to pass it on to a peer organization. That's good, because you don't want to do something wrong and then you'll be in trouble. Yeah, I don't want to be liable for things we're not good at. That's smart. And now this is more of a personal question. You're busy. You're the executive director of Latinitas. It's a lot on your plate, and I think a lot of it, it's a lot, but you've also done a lot of good things. How do you manage to, one, take care of your mental health, but also two, at the end of the day, find a work-life balance? Because you have a family, you're married, right? I have a partner, yes. Uh-huh. So how do you manage to do both of those, and at the end of the day, just be happy? It's a tricky balance, and it's not always balanced. That's the reality, no? Pero it's interesting because people are like, what do you like to do in your free time? And I'm like, I love to work. So in my free time, I am running other nonprofits as a volunteer, as a board member. So I run an organization called Austin Emerging Arts Leaders, and we are, trying to uplift the next generation of artists in the community. That for me fills my cup. That makes me happy to stay engaged with the arts and the artists in the community. I'm also a board member at Texans for the Arts, that organization that I intern with. I'm still working with them as a board member now. And that fills my cup to know I'm doing something fulfilling. I'm using my voice in a meaningful way. That helps me stay sane and grounded when maybe the climate feels like, oh, I'm not doing enough. There's nothing I can do to change my circumstance, I try to look to my community, if I can do a little bit and contribute and give of my time, then I feel better about myself going to sleep at night, Yeah. When I'm not working for fun, then I'm probably, maybe going for a hike with my partner, Jaime. We also have a bearded dragon, Macarena. She's my daughter. So
a bearded dragon?
A bearded dragon, yeah, that's my pet. So we like to hang out with her in the backyard. I like to go outside. That's really how I take care of myself. I go outside or I go to the gym. Exercising is really good for my mental health. That helps me stay really rooted. Busy life, a lot of it's at the desk, sitting down. So I try to make sure I keep my body fit, my mind sharp, and eat healthy. That's another big thing. Is I'm a pescatarian. Okay. I love pescado, but I don't eat meat, and I try to just really take care of myself and give myself good fuel. And that's just something I know for me is gonna work to help me give more to my community.
That's good. I'm glad you're also doing something fun, and you're also getting to spend time with your partner. Whenever you're busy, how do you guys plan the schedules?
It's crazy. We do share calendars.
Smart.
We have a tradition. We always travel around the 4th of July. Okay. We both have the long weekend, and that's just been the weekend that we save for each other every year. If we don't get to travel together the rest of the year, at least we're gonna save that weekend.
At least one. Mm-hmm. That's I think when someone having those little hey, this is no matter what, we're gonna do this. Right. With my wife and I, we have movie nights or we got to eat one time a week. Unless, say, this coming week is going to be busy, but we try to plan it around, but same, share calendars. But it helps because even if it's just, small, we're just going to sit down and watch. I don't answer to nobody's, messages or till, I'm about to go to sleep. Yeah. Just because, one, for me, it's hey, my wife is important, so everybody can wait.
That's right. Number one, right?
Number one. Happy wife, happy life. That's However, true. I like to challenge that sometimes. Well, thank you for being here, Gabriela. How can people reach out to you, reach out to Latinitas, and where can they find you guys?
On all social media, we're at Latinitas. You can find me, my name on Instagram, Ministra de Cultura. It's very fitting for my lifestyle. We're online, latinitasonline.org. You can learn more about our programs there. If you want to get involved, there's a tab. You can put in your information. We'll shoot you an email and let you know how you can come and partake in the community.
Nice. For everyone out there that, that wants to volunteer, I feel like this is more like a calling for a lot of, professionals in the industry that want to volunteer or find a way to volunteer. I feel like your skills or your knowledge will be put to good use in this organization.
That's right. Come on down.
Vénganse. And before we close, I wanted to ask you, when Mexico and Panama play, who do you cheer for?
No, whoever wins.
Whoever wins. Nice. You said you're diplomatic, so.
It's true.
Bueno, Raza, thank you guys for listening to this. She just said Panamá, hey, lo que caiga. Se cuidan, se portan bien. Los quiero mucho. Y como siempre digo, arriba la América.